God, the air conditioning's sorry.
Hello and welcome to the MTD podcast. We're here live at MACH 2024 at the NEC in Birmingham. First, this is day one. We're going to be live here every day from 4 o'clock in the afternoon, but we're also doing live streams throughout the week as well. Now, I'm pleased to say I've got a panel with me today of esteemed guests. Firstly, we've got Chloe Reid from MTDCNC. Good to see you, Chloe. Got Joe Reynolds from MTDCNC too. And, of course, James Fudge here from who else but the MTA,
Hello.
The organisers of this fabulous event. And that's where we're going to start. So, James, good to see you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for everything you guys have put on here. It's great for industry here in the UK. For those that maybe, this might be the first time they've tuned into one of our streams, could you just give us a quick overview of MACH as a show?
Sure. So, I mean, we've actually been on site since last Monday. We've been building the show. We've got a lot of live working equipment at the show, and that really is our USP. You know, most companies are bringing, I think the most that someone's bought is 18 machines. But most companies got 2 or 3 machines, and they're all live demoing, all in one place. And this has to be the biggest gathering of our community anywhere. I mean, we're expecting over the 5 days 30,000 people through the doors.
Yeah. I mean, how many exhibitors are there? Just to give a flavour for the visitor that could come.
So there's just under 500 in total. And that literally is everything from additive manufacturing all the way through to software, be it I4, be it automation and robotics, and also a lot of the supply chain as well, because people aren't just rocking up looking for new equipment, but they're also looking at the capacity and capability of UK economy.
Some of the kit that I've seen here today, you have one of the biggest machines that's ever been at MACH before here. On the DTS stand, the Torium machine. They managed to get that installed here in something like 4 days. I mean, there must be a colossal amount of activity that happens here in the previous week.
Yeah, I mean, the guys that do it are absolutely superb. We've worked with ILS for MACH for a number of years now, and their guys are super. I mean, we've got Versaliv's craneage, we've got all sorts going on trying to get the show built. But it's been amazingly quick, really smooth. Everyone's had their stuff installed safely, but really quickly as well. And set up in what is really quite a short amount of time.
So have any of these hauliers or lifters got as many muscles as the man sitting to the left of you?
Does anyone?
That's
Unlikely.
Joe, how many times how many times have you been at MACH?
1996.
You excited about the week?
Albeit I was a little apprentice, but yeah, I love MACH. I love MACH. It's everything that we preach, isn't it? All under one roof. I love it.
And Chloe, I mean, is this the second time you've been here for MTDCNC?
Yeah, second time I've been here at MTDCNC, and I was here once previous. I think it was 2016, fresh apprentice with my other employer as an apps engineer, and just to see how far it's come from 2016. It's not even 10 years. It's massive. It's huge.
And you'll be pleased to know you're going to see a lot more of Chloe on camera this week, because you'll be doing some of the live streams that we do, and also filming around. Now, if you want to catch up on anything we've done on MTDCNC today, you can visit our YouTube channel or LinkedIn or wherever you're watching this, or in fact our website. James, what's been happening on day one? How good have things been?
So we've actually, I think this is one of the busiest Mondays we've had. I've not had the final figures yet, but there's certainly been more people through the door. We've had a lot of people turn up and register. So even though our pre-registrations were higher than the previous MACH, we've had even more people coming in. We are about to launch our new report, which is the true impact of manufacturing. We did the report a few years ago, and this is the updated version. So we're about to go and launch that now. And that really looks at what impact manufacturing has on the UK economy, which is actually 23%. If you take into account everything that the economy brings in, and that's also 7.3 million jobs.
So 23%, just explain that figure, just out.
So in terms of GDP, in terms of, if you look at, what these guys in this room do, you're probably talking a few percent. If you look at the knock-on effect of manufacturing, so anyone that's employed because of a result of manufacturing, it actually accounts for 23%. So Oxford Economics have put this report together. Government have approved all the methodology. It's all signed off. We're not just making these figures up to make it sound good.
So this is going to be publicly available? Is something that we're going to...
as I say, it's officially launched in about half an hour's time.
Okay.
So this is a
hot off the press then.
A slight hot off the press one.
Yeah.
So that's available on the MTA website if you want to have a look at that report. But really it just shows the importance of what everyone here is doing and what we're doing as a sector.
What about from an education perspective? Talk to us about what you've got here.
So we launched a few years ago the Education Development Zone, and the idea was that we brought student groups through They get paired up with an apprentice from one of the members or one of the exhibitors here, and they get toured around the halls. So they get a real good day experience, and it's kind of that peer-to-peer learning. We've got nearly 4,000 registered over the next 5 days. I mean, we've had 800 odd through the doors today. It's been really busy. They've got a special zone, so there's an education and development zone that kind of explains a little bit about what's going on. Formula One in schools are there, the University of Wolverhampton are there, World Skills are running competitions, and then they get a real good tour of the hall, as I say, and a chance to stop and look at all the different technology on show.
I mean, Chloe, you're probably one of the youngest, well, you are the youngest on our panel. You've been in manufacturing some time, you've been through the education system. When you come to a show like MACH, how important is it for youngsters to be here?
To be here, yes, 100%. And like my first MACH 2016 was as an apprentice. And until I walked through those doors, I did not know what to expect. And coming through those years, being able to have apprentices here, having sections for them. I grew up as an apprentice with my granddads thinking that engineering was really dirty, you'd be stuck in a tool room and that's where you belong kind of thing. But coming through, especially fabrication, CNC milling, CNC turning, welding, additive manufacturing coming more into the mix as well, it needs to be more approachable for students, and not just students, but for young children as well, to be put in schools, STEM activities and things like that. And for James to talk about that at MACH 2024 and how it's moving, it just makes engineering a more approachable career for not just children, but and women as well to go into as a career.
I think it's interesting.
James, don't get employing her. What a speech that was.
Sorry,
I'm like, we'll sound like that. Thank you.
It wasn't written down, or there's no auto cue or anything like that.
That's why I love MACH, because it's available for everybody.
Yeah.
You see everybody from every walk of life. And I've seen, sat here today, parents come with their children, and that is fantastic. It's just a day off. You probably missed a day of school, but it is very educational. It's not just going out to a show. You see everything from different aspects of manufacturing. It's not just a one-tunnel vision. It's the whole shebang.
Is there a danger, though, maybe with the way technology is advancing, that some of the youngsters aren't using or learning the basic skills? Because I came through with, turning on a conventional lathe, doing all the basics of, fitting as well as, machining too. But I look at it and think to myself now, some of these machine tools are so advanced that are they taking kind of that element away?
The iPad generation. It's an interesting thought, and people say you need to be able to machine a part on a lathe and a mill, and I'll probably subscribe to that because I can do it. But
badly. You've seen some of the
you wouldn't want me on the machine anymore. Yeah. But the way these machines, it's getting to a stage where you probably don't. I don't like to say it, but it's probably you don't.
See, I think there are still some that use those practical skills. They still have to learn the base principles.
Yeah.
And that's good. It's
I still did. Before I could move on to CNC, I had to prove that I could get this part within tolerance and at the speeds and feeds corrected. At the start, you were given the speeds and feeds and the tooling. As you went through, you had to think about yourself. That's what engineering's about. I find engineers are always looking for a problem to solve. And that's why they come. They buy a machine because they've got a part that they need to solve. They need to make money from their customers. And I think a lot of machines nowadays as well have really good interactive conversational software. But you still need, if you break that, you still need the clatter of and the scare of the machine. When I crashed my first machine, I never did it again. Did it again.
You have to scrap a part almost to understand
scrap a machine, maybe, as well.
Yeah.
But that's the learning of it, isn't it?
I think the other thing as well is, so when you look around here, it's the different skills needed.
Yeah.
So if you start looking at AM, actually designing for additive manufacturing and 3D printing is really different. If you go down and look at the guys that are looking at the i4 type stuff, it's still utilising all these same skills, but there are actually some different skills we're going to need, and predominantly they're going to come from that next generation of engineers coming through. Those that are a little bit more tech savvy that are using it. So it kind of all fits together, I think, as one big story. Yeah. And on that point you raised earlier about coming back over the years, the change in technology. Even I think COVID really showed us that. We had that 4-year gap between shows, and the leap in technology in those 4 years. But again, even walking around now compared to 2022, you're not just going to come back to the same show.
Yeah.
You're coming back to some real
it's evolving,
cutting edge,
really
pardon
is.
the pun,
Still
state-of-the-art
raining
technology.
though.
So, if you have a question for James, you can actually type it in wherever you're watching this, LinkedIn, YouTube, or our website, and we'll ask him while he's here live. He's only got about another few minutes with us, bear in mind. James, the seminar program and stuff like that is quite an important part of what you're doing.
It is, yeah. I mean, people come here obviously to see the latest technology, but we've got quite a lot. Our seminar program has got it's pared back now, so it's almost just keynote sessions. We've had some great addresses today. We had the government's chief technology advisor opening the session. We've got Jürgen Meyer later in the week. We've got Rhys Herbert, who is the Lloyd's chief economist, talking about the future of manufacturing in the UK. As well as a whole host of other speakers running throughout the week.
And what are you hearing from your members in terms of how the market conditions at the moment on the lead up to this?
Again, being MTA, and this always sounds like I'm dodging the question, it's always going to be mixed because our members are across a number of verticals. Those that are across those verticals are saying they've got certain markets going better than others, as you'd expect. But at the moment, there's a real buzz. And I was saying earlier, people put on social media, looking forward to being there, and it's all very exciting. But as you walk around today and talk to people, everyone's smiling.
Yeah.
There is a real positive feel and a real buzz walking around the halls. And even during build-up, that wasn't just, I'm here talking to customers, it was seeing each other. And people that haven't seen each other for 2 years.
Yeah.
And you can sense that in the halls, I think.
I love when you come into MACH. We come on a Saturday. Fortunately, stand was finished, but you walk in, it's like, oh, another MACH. And it's like walking into a football. When you go to watch a football match, as you start to see the pitch, you can't help but glow and and get excited for the week ahead.
Well, bear in mind you're a Man United fan, so there's no excitement there. Coventry City on the end.
3-0 win.
Excitement
3-0 win on next Sunday. Yeah.
Other than when you're playing Luton Town, of course, because then then things can change. James, there's also a big dinner happening this week, which we're pleased and thank you for the invitation to attend that as well.
No worries. We've got over 500 people coming to that, so it's the biggest dinner that the MTA have hosted since about 2016, 2017. So
a celebration of not just the event, but manufacturing in general.
It's the whole industry. We're all gathered in one place. Why not go and celebrate that together in a bit more an informal setting?
Now, we've talked about all the good things, but there must be some challenges that go on with doing something like this, James. There must be some moments where you go, oh, gosh.
I mean, you're always going to get...
Give us the warts and all.
It is challenging. I mean, there's the odd machine that, for example, might be turning up later than planned. Thankfully, I mean, the team that organised this are superb. We can accommodate that, no problem. We go and visit all our major exhibitors pre-show with the electrics team, with the lifting team, and we plan everything. So we know the order of the lorries coming in, who's going in what day. So, as I say, it's gone really smoothly.
Well, that's me from day one, though. It's like, okay, you're in that corner over there somewhere. You've got to come in. Like, inches matter, don't they?
Yeah, well, apparently so. I mean, when you arrive and it's a completely blank floor and there's just some little, almost chalk markings on the floor, it's just,
James, I believe that announcement is where you need to be. So we're gonna let you go. Thank you very much for participating.
So much. It's great to see you all.
Perhaps you can join us again. Perhaps you can join us again this week, James, on this podcast. If anybody has got any questions for you,
there's also the knowledge hubs before you go, isn't there?
That'd be great. Oh yeah, if you're coming to the show and you're looking to find out about some of the latest technology, we've got knowledge hubs on robotics and automation, sustainability, data and AI, tooling, and additive manufacturing. They're a great place you can go, get impartial advice, and find out who at the show is
lots of
providing
information
those
there.
Yeah. Great stuff, James. Thank you very much for joining us.
No worries. Thank you both very much.
Well done, mate.
All of you.
So on the MTD podcast, we're welcoming guests throughout this next probably half an hour or so up until about 5 o'clock. If you haven't seen any of our streams today, you can visit our YouTube channel or our LinkedIn page if you're watching from there, or in fact Instagram, and you'll be able to catch up, or in fact our website too. We've been on Mill CNC today, we've been on the DTS stand, we've been with Heimer, we've been with Citizen, we've been with... Who else have we been with, guys, off the top of your head?
I think you said them all, haven't you?
Yeah,
there's quite a few, wasn't there?
What I can tell you is that if you visit the website, you will be able to see. If you've got any questions throughout this stream, or in fact any stream that we produce, then you can put them down, and we'll try and get to you, or in fact a shout out just to tell us that you're watching. We're joined by our second guest, Kazra. Nice to see you.
Yeah, you too, mate.
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah,
introduce yourself to our audience and tell us a little bit about what you're doing here at MACH.
Yeah, so I'm Kazra Meraki. I work for Feature UK, and we're in the machine tools industry for anything steel and construction. So the company's been around for over 90 years now. It's an Italian company, and the UK subsidiary, it was opened in 2000. We've got over 35 people on board now.
How many machines would you have installed, do you think, in this marketplace?
Oh, yeah, hundreds.
Hundreds, yeah.
Yeah.
And give us an idea, we talk about fabrication sheet metal, what they would be producing.
So we've got various types of machines, obviously. We've got, if you want to process any type of steel beams, I-beams, H-beams, so to put a building like this together, you need beams, So we
if you want it to stay up, you do.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So we can supply small machines for small fabricators, where you've got like 3 or 4 or 5 fabricators and welders. With small machine, you can just produce a lower number of quantity of parts per day. But then we've got big production lines that customers that make hundreds and hundreds of tons of steel, hundreds of tons per day sometimes, so we can supply very large production lines to process those structural parts.
I mean, you've been involved in machining as well as fabrication. I mean, when you look at those two markets, which is biggest and what are the main differences?
So, I'm still quite a bit of a newbie in this sort of fabrication and construction market, really. Because I've joined Feature recently. But in the UK market, I think they're both big, industries at the moment. Manufacturing, it's got its ups and downs throughout the years, but fabrication, you can see that there's a lot of projects being built at the moment. Malls, shopping malls, schools, hospitals, bridges, roads, they all need steel, and they all need steel to be processed.
And if you look at, sorry Joe, you were going to...
We're just going to tell us about some of the technologies. Like there's 2 or 3 of the technologies I've seen over the years, but for our viewers, you can just go into some of the projects that you
absolutely, yeah. So we've got mainly 2 sections of products. So we've got plate processing machines, so we can do oxygen cutting, or we can do plasma cutting on them. And we recently partnered up with an Italian company called Cutlight. They've got actually a stand here at MACH that they can. They produce laser cutting machines up to 50 kilowatts, so they can cut mild steel up to 150 mil thick with laser. They've got their beveling head technology as well.
Yeah.
And then obviously our featured machinery for plate processing, our flagship is called Gemini. So it's got milling capability as well as scribing, drilling, and then you name it. And then flame cutting, plasma cutting.
That takes me back to Germany. Can you remember that machine?
Yeah, well, it did all that, didn't it? If I remember correctly.
One machine.
Probably the same machine that we're talking about. Yeah.
I'm just trying to think of what an application would look like that would need all of those.
Flame cutting, milling, it was tapping, it was doing all sorts, all on the same machine.
Yeah. So for example, for a base plate, if you want to put a column up, you've got a base plate, and then you've got some holes, and then you've got some areas that you need to do some welding on them. So with the Gemini machine, you can do the cutting of it, and then you can put the holes in, you can do the tapping for the where the bolts are going to be connected, and then obviously you can put the weld preps on it, and then you put your column or your beam, and then you either do the welding, or you bolt it down.
I suppose it's a little bit like nowadays in the machining environment, you see machines that are capable of multitasking, doing lots of these different tasks. You're trying to achieve the same goal, right?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. Actually, we're launching a new machine here at MACH, which can do a lot of things. So it's got a big...
And it's here?
Yeah, it's here, actually. It's on. It's for the first time here, actually. We're revealing it here at MACH, and it's quite it's a very capable machine, that is, because it can do all of your applications. Drilling, milling, scribing, and it's got a big cutting disc, so we can do some, cutting of the steel itself, and we will be running it actually here.
Where can you be found?
Hall 20, stand 180.
And Chloe, have you ever seen any of these the machines these guys supply in action?
No. I've heard.
Did you learn about that? We were talking about apprenticeships earlier. Is that an area? When I was learning, I was moved into different shops to do different things. So there was the fitting, there was the sheet metal work. even welding and stuff like that. Did you get involved in that too?
So we did exactly the same, and bearing in mind, I started mine when I was 18. It was either go into an apprenticeship or go to university, and chose to do an apprenticeship.
You couldn't get into university, no?
I was actually going to go to the University of Portsmouth to study architecture, but we're here now, so it was too long of a course, should I say. But 18 years of age, obviously younger, 16 if you don't go on to do your A-levels. Did your milling, turning, all on your manuals. Welding I did, electric, so I can actually plug a plug socket in my lights, but I'm not technically, authorised to do that. But no, CNC milling was the only thing that was really out there as an apprentice, and that was, 10 years ago. And to see how much, we were talking about technology earlier, to see how much it's moved on, I would have never ever have seen that when I was doing my apprenticeship. So I would actually like to go back now as an apprentice and see whether this is in the curriculum or not, because it should be. If it's coming into technology and if it's coming to the forefront of industry, not ancestors, but the kids coming through, the system should be trained up for this future engineering.
Well, we've heard about your skill sets and background. We haven't heard much about yours, Joe, but we'll come on to that. Kazra, where's your entry into this industry? What's your experience?
Yeah, so, obviously, study-wise, I studied mechanical engineering, and I've always been involved in machine tools, especially milling and drilling and some turning as well. I started as an apprentice myself on the shop floor for a couple of years, did actual manual turning. For the first 6 months, I wasn't really allowed to touch a machine, so I was just like sweeping the floor and putting some oil on the machine. Yeah. But then, so learned it the hard way.
Doesn't take 6 months to learn that, does it?
I had a strict boss, so he didn't want me to touch the machine.
You must have done a very good job at it. It must have been well lubricated, maybe, and the floors were clean.
Very clean, I tell you, But, then afterwards I started a sort of a startup business, and we were doing some metrology. So we had 3D scanners and CMM machines and that sort of thing, and then we got involved into manufacturing routers for the woodworking industry, and then we moved on to metalworking machinery. So I did that for about 8-9 years, manufacturing actually machine tools, and then obviously I moved to the UK and then started to work in this industry, the same thing basically that I've ever done.
And what would you be saying to people that should be coming to see you this week? What have FICEP got to show?
So, feature, we would say we're as...
you call it feature. Am I making a mistake there by calling it FICEP?
Yeah, well, it's the
Italian.
Well. Yeah, it's the Italian pronunciation of it. Yeah. It's an Italian company, it's an Italian name. So, we are a one-stop shop for everything construction and steel processing. So, us, alongside our partners, we can, completely equip a complete factory, a production line, with everything that you would need to actually, make these buildings like this. Yeah,
good. Well, let's hope this one doesn't fall down.
Yeah.
But I'm sure it won't. Kadra, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thanks, yeah.
Good to see you again. And just one last time, where can you be found?
Hall 20, stand 180.
Good.
Yeah, come and see us. We've got live demos throughout the day, so the machine looks very impressive. Yeah.
And good luck in your new role.
Yeah,
yes.
Cheers. Appreciate it. Thanks,
Thank
guys.
you. Thanks, Kadra.
Thanks.
Give him a little bit of a round of applause. Does Jason want to come on to the...
He's in a very depth in
that was Kazra from FICEP. It's not FICEP, Joe. What's it called?
Hello.
Do you know, I can't remember. FICEP, is it? I think everyone calls them FICEP.
Yeah, we can't bleep this out.
Sure.
Jason.
Bleep this out.
Yeah,
we're live
nice to see you.
4.
Hello, chaps.
Hello,
chappers. Hello.
So we're live here at the NEC at MACH 2024. This is the MTD podcast. We're going to be doing this every day from about 4:15. We're going to be welcoming guests from the show, not only exhibitors but visitors as well. Now, if you can visit this week, you should, because there's going to be, or there is, around 500 exhibitors here, whether it be machine tools, metrology, automation, software. Every aspect of manufacturing, this show is well worth visiting. But of course, if you can't, then you can watch MTDCNC, where we'll be on our YouTube channel, LinkedIn, on our website, on Instagram. You'll be able to follow all of our streams. We've been on Mills CNC today. We've been on Courier. We've also been on Hymer, we've been on Citizen, tomorrow we're on Matsura, Soditech. So much happening throughout the week, so stay tuned to MTDCNC. Jason, I've kept you waiting long enough.
It's fine, I've been eating, it's good.
Great to have you participating on our stand as well and on this podcast. Maybe for those that don't know and that haven't quite seen that
the very small piece of kit.
Vehicle that we have over there to my left,
Yep.
Tell us about Fleg Projects.
Well, as you know, you've been with us for a year now, so I think you've learned pretty well what we do. And the installation side of the business is just amazing. But yeah, we're bringing new kit in and different types of equipment for installing machinery just to make life easier, which is why we brought that today.
Yeah, I mean, so in essence, it's factory moves.
Yeah. I mean, it's solutions. We was just talking about a job that we're looking at for one of our customers that we've got to put into a beautiful environment next door to the Royal Opera House, and it's just coming out of an idea because obviously these buildings are very old. Nobody's got the lifting equipment to get in there, so we're basically designing a full lifting frame, have a scaffolding system, so we have to lift 20 tonnes, take it through the centre of this.
What are you moving in it? What are you putting in it?
It's a kind of like a...
Not Pavarotti.
No, but we're going to X-ray Pavarotti. It's like an X-ray machine that's basically to look at old musical equipment. So,
right, okay.
It's quite incredible piece.
So quite diverse. I mean, we're talking here clearly about machine tools and stuff like that, but the business is far beyond just that.
Yeah, we do everything. We work for a Natural History Museum, so when we're putting stuff in there, we do quite a lot of work for Nikon. When they find a new artefact, if it's mummified for argument's sake, then you don't want to open it up.
That's
because
so
drop it.
interesting.
So basically, they're putting it in the machine, and then you can see a complete X-ray of what's inside the machinery, inside the mummified whatever it is. We've seen a monkey, we've seen a couple of birds of prey and all sorts of things.
Really, yeah.
It's the most incredible thing because it's so detailed
Wow.
without opening the actual mummification. So, and then they put it in the exhibition with a picture taken from the X-ray machine right next to it, so you can see it.
Well, Joe was asking earlier. We wanted me to ask because he didn't dare ask himself.
By the way, whatever's coming out of his mouth isn't true.
I was asking, have you got something that's capable of lifting him out of the bath?
Yes.
You have?
Yes.
Oh, right, okay,
Yeah.
that must... Yeah.
We've got an MC100, it's fine. It's got a good reach as well.
You will probably need it, I should say. Joe, you've seen a lot of what Fleg do. I mean, how important is machine removal around them?
Well, you're not going to have a machine tool without it, are you? So it's pretty darn important, I would say. I must admit, I was a bit naive to it. In my head, you pick up a machine, you put it on a lorry, you drive it somewhere, you drop it off, shake some hands, have a coffee, and you're done. But there's a lot more to it than that, is what I've learned since working with these guys. They're a fantastic company. There's other players out there, isn't there? But when you look at the project management side of what you're doing, I think that's what makes you different. Not just the fact you've got lorries and you can lift things up. It's the whole project, the whole cradle to grave type of thing.
Yeah, I mean, that was the thing we always said to you guys. It's interesting because obviously you are in the industry for machine tools, and it's basically always been a case of you turn up, you look at a new machine in a customer's place, and you're videoing what they're doing, and it's all great, but nobody ever asks, well, how'd you get it in? Mm-hmm. And there are quite a lot of people that do it, the installation side, but a lot of them are, they've got a crane lorry, they've got some nice equipment, but they're not engineers. So we manufacture lifting equipment, we manufacture different types of, slideways to get machines in that you can't conventionally get stuff into. So we find that, that's where we start coming away from everybody else because a lot of it is all designed in-house. You've been to the offices, you've met the guys. It's all about having a meeting and coming up with a solution for the whole job.
Yeah. How about from your olden days in terms of machine removal? when you had a real job.
She's so old.
Yeah. When you had a real job.
When I had a real job, well, I used to deal with machine moves all the time. But from being we weren't an end user. We were the machine tool supplier, putting it to the end user. And I was talking to Jason actually and Mark last week, weren't we, about it? And I think people take it for granted so much. You think you just pick it up, drop it off, and away you go. But there's so much involved in it, and the amount of skill set that the team have to use, and confidence within their team to be able to orchestrate it together. site surveys as well. Can you drop it on the ground? Is it going to be strong enough for an 18-ton machine to be dropped on the ground? And also with end users, if you're looking to fit a 5-axis multi-pallet machine, is it going to fit? You can go to someone like Fleg Projects and give them all the machines that you have, your square meterage, and you can puzzle it in, can't you? And
absolutely.
say, yeah, it's achievable.
Yep.
So it's not just picking up and dropping off a machine. It's so much more than that, and it's more than an investment. It's a lifelong partnership, I'd say.
But the interesting thing is, when a lot of the customers that we work with, they'll have a team of guys that have figured out if they're going to move a factory.
Yeah.
And it's great because it looks on paper, it's fantastic, and everything fits, and it's marvellous. But then when it comes to the actual scheduling, they're kind of like, so we just thought you'd go in the door and pick that machine up and then bring it over. And it's like, but that doesn't go at the back of the factory, so that's going to be in the way.
Yeah.
So, what you need is we need to basically start a bit like that, not the Jenga, I can't remember what that puzzle's called.
Tetris.
And it's like, move this from here to here.
It
And so we end up sort of taking 3 or 4 machines out first, put them to the side so you can get to the back machines to bring them to put to the back of the factory. And they're sitting there and they've done all this working out about how it's all going to fit, and they've got no clue how on earth it would actually work. So it's our job to basically just highlight those kind of things and say,
And I suppose it's a bit of
a really important. It's an important point. You're not turning up with a few lorries and cranes. You must have days and days of work before you even start the job.
Yeah, I mean, we now have a project manager that we basically. Well, I used to work for her. She used to work for a company called Man and Hummel up here. Yeah, and she would bring us in. She was a project manager on site. So when they needed to move machines around to get new machines in or to move the production lines, she would give us a ring. We'd come and do the job for her. She loved how we did it, so she now works for us. So she does the project management. So if we get a job that's more than one machine and it's, a scheduled installation, we'll get a phone call from the customer. We'll go and look at the job. She'll come with us to start. I'll walk around, or one of my other project guys will work out roughly what we think it's going to take to do the job, but she will then manage that project, so she will basically write the schedules down. She'll suggest things for the customers. They haven't sorted their electrics out, no problem, we'll do the electrics for them because we've got electrical mechanical engineers as well. So she puts on them and then she writes their schedules for them, and they pay for that service because it's just like, that's not my job, we don't know what we're doing. We make bits, we don't move bits.
That's
do you know
true.
what? I wish there was removal men within the kind of domestic order. Because
when you move house,
which is not very often, but when I do,
or
when anything happens, I'll always say to my wife, we've got the people coming to pick all this stuff.
Yeah.
She'll say, well, you've got to empty the drawers.
Yeah.
No, I don't need to empty the drawers.
Tape
You've got to take everything out of the cupboards.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, they can do it. And they don't do that. So I might as well do the whole thing, because as far as I'm concerned, I want to ring someone up and say, do you know what, come up, stick it all in boxes, put it all
I wouldn't want to go through your top drawer.
I think as well, if you don't know from the start the whole plan, if something goes wrong, there's something, if you trail back and go through, maybe if we spotted that before, it would have been, we would have avoided this situation. So for you to take it on as a whole project and to have reoccurring customers and the customer go, here you go.
Yeah.
They know that they've got promise in you. It's great testimonial.
It's a convenience. For me, though, everything that you do and everything that all of us do, it's all about convenience.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Less hassle, less responsibility for me, i.e. the customer, and more responsibility on you. You must have had some funny moments over the years where things have happened and stuff like that. Anything that you can...
And the machines that wouldn't fit through the door, get the roof off a building.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that does happen pretty regularly because you get companies where the salespeople get the sale, they don't care how it goes in, and you turn up on site and it's like, it doesn't fit through the door sideways, lengthways, height-wise, it just doesn't fit. And I think one of the funniest ones we had was Nikon, who's the mobile? Nokia. And they bought a machine and... they'd neglected to mention that it's going into a lift and up onto the first floor, and the machine didn't fit. But they had to have it in, so we literally had to strip all of the guarding off the machinery and get it down to the bare frame to get it into the lift, to take it up onto the first floor, then take all the gear back in and rebuild it again.
Wow.
But
stuff like that actually happens.
It happens all the time. I had a company we used to work for. It's not in this industry. It's in print finishing, and I learnt my engineering trade because I've been doing this since I was 12, and I love my job. So there was a company called Muller Martini, and they're like amazing print finishing equipment.
It sound like alcoholic yogurts.
It is. Yeah, it was. Yeah, it smelled the same way. Yeah. And they, but we would regularly turn up on site with a brand new machine, and the salesman's neglected that they've actually given a deposit or taken the old machine as a deposit.
Oh, really?
They haven't decommissioned it. It's still running.
Oh my
And
gosh.
I've turned up at 6 o'clock at night, ready for the following morning for a night out, and I'm like, "You've still got a machine, chap." So then I'd have to get all my gear out, and I'd strip the whole machine on my own all through the night, take the machine out, put the new machine in, then bring the old machine away. Wow. And it happened very regularly.
With coolant in, tooling in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, with the Muller stuff, it wasn't as bad, but it's glue. It's like, because it does bookbinding.
Yeah.
So the hot glue that's still hot, and I'm having to try and take this thing out. You know, you've got to leave it for 6 hours to cool down.
Doesn't it?
Oh, it's a nightmare, but that's how you learn.
Oh, yeah. And
So how many kind of removals or moves will you do in a year? Give us. I mean, you are every day. Is that?
Funnily enough, we did work it out, and we think we roughly do around about 3,000 jobs a year.
Oh wow!
So
okay.
yeah, it's quite. But some of them are big. You know, one project might be 12 weeks.
Right.
It's kind of it's quite a. On average, I'd say 3,000 a year, but we do a lot of single machinery delivery. So for Herco, it'll be one machine delivered to site.
So you can be doing a lot more than one a day.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I mean, and the trucks are designed that if you have 3 small machines, we would basically take 3 machines on one lorry. Yeah. But if it's for 2 different customers, we'd put one on the trailer, one on the lorry, so they're sheeted up and covered, so that nobody knows what else is on the back of the trailer. Okay, because it's etiquette at the end of the day for the customer, you know. Yeah. You know, you can do multi-drops. It's quite funny, actually, because one of the funniest things I've always sort of likened ourselves is screw fix. Because we've had people on the injection moulding side, there was a 720 machine for Arberg, which is about 19 tonne, 20 tonne, sat in stock in our warehouse, and one of their customers, their machine went down, and they phoned him and said, "We need a machine," and we delivered it the next day.
Wow.
So instead of buying a box of screws, you're buying a 20-ton injection moulding machine delivered the next day.
You back your Cavalier on the trailer.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, drag it up. It's just it's all about diversity and just making sure you can cover all options for people.
And it sounds like you love what you do.
I do slightly.
You clearly got a great team here.
I have, yes.
Lovely
Very
team.
lucky.
Fleg Projects are on our stand this week. They're part of our exhibition stand here, so you can come and talk to them about what Jason's talking about here. Jason, thank you very much for joining us.
No problem.
Podcast.
Pleasure.
You're just over there, so we're not.
Oh no, I'm not going
This
far.
won't be the last time we'll see you. Jason, thank you.
Thanks, Jason.
No worries,
Cheers.
And so, if you are watching and you do have any questions for us, then you can put them on the channel that you're watching, whether it be YouTube, LinkedIn, or the website. Good day one, Joe.
It's a great day. I always find with Mac that the show is so big. You need to get your bearings. Day one for me is it's like, oh, that's where they are, and then I get into it the rest of the week almost. It's too big a show to come for one day, and people watching should obviously come to the show, but do try and stop over. Do try and do that second day. But to me, there's more fabrication. There's definitely a lot more. AI stuff, a lot more software, a lot more education. So for me, it's been a great start to the week. How about you?
Yeah, but it's good. But Monday's always a little bit tame, isn't it? It just generally is. I mean, throughout the week, I'm sure it's going to get. Certainly, we're going to be doing this podcast every night and expect to see a lot more faces here during the week. But for me, it's been great. I've been on the biggest stand that's here, the Mill CNC.
It's unbelievable.
Wow.
The Technical Odyssey, as they call it, 16. Machine tools with automation, and they have a real mix of they've got everything from their 3-axis machines up to their Zaya multi-processor or multi-function machine, as well as their SMX machines for multitasking. So much to see on that stand. I've also been on the stand with the biggest machine ever to be at MACH, so plus others. So it's been a good day. Chloe, I know we're going to see a lot more of you on camera this week, but you've been fantastic today on this podcast. So
Thank
you.
As always.
And Joe, we're probably going to see a lot more of you on camera, although we might not want to. But thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
And please keep tuned to MTDCNC. We'll be live again at 9:30 tomorrow morning from the Soditech stand here at MACH. If you want to catch up on all the streams that we've done today, then you can do that on our YouTube channel, you can do that on our LinkedIn page, or you can do that on Instagram. And as I say, we'll be live all week, so if you can't make it to this show, although you should get here if you can, then you'll be able to keep tuned to what's happening on MTDCNC. That's it for Monday's podcast. You can join us again here tomorrow at 4:15, where we'll be doing the same again. We'll have a lot more guests tomorrow, Wednesday and Thursday. And then on Friday, we have a podcast during the day as well. So that's it from MTD live streams today. Thanks for watching. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, Paul, and we'll see you all tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.